We all want really fast growing plants in our home, don't we? We want a big bushy plant and we want to see it grow quickly. And so today I'm going to be sharing with you my fastest growing houseplants that I actually have in my collection. So these are all plants that I have direct experience of. And so I'm going to start with one of the first houseplants that I had in my collection, the aloe vera. And this one is just excellent if you want a fast growing plant. The more light you give it, the better, and it can handle some direct light. Mine would probably be a bit bigger if I had more light to give it. It gets the most light that I can possibly give it here, but you could keep this in an even well lit area and it would probably grow even faster than mine is. And the great thing about this is if you look in the soil, you can see that from the one big plant that you see here, we also have loads and loads of pups in the soil. And you can take these pups out if you like to, you can divide them and you can make new aloe vera plants. And it is super easy to propagate this one by division. You just take these little babies out of the soil, plant them up, give them away to family and friends or keep them for yourself. And yeah, you will find this to be one of the fastest growing houseplants. But just remember not to overwater this one. It is a succulent, so you should treat it like you would treat a succulent. Make sure it's got a really well draining soil and let it dry out completely between watering, because overwatering is going to be your worst enemy for this plant. So be a bit mean with your watering, make sure it dries out completely and make sure you have a really well draining soil in there. So add some perlite, add some pumice, make sure that soil is nice and well draining. A good cactus and succulent soil is also great, add some sand in there. And yeah, this plant will grow well for you. Don't be afraid to give it some sun because it does like some sun. Next up we have the bird of paradise, and this one is a super fast grower. It does get quite large, but during the warmer months here I've been noticing this one putting leaf after leaf and it just doesn't stop. It has slowed down now in winter, which is normal, but during the spring summer it just keeps putting out leaf after leaf, and this one is actually sized up considerably in the time that I've had it, because it was a tiny baby when I got it. It's still quite small for a bird of paradise, but it has probably doubled in size, I would say, in the short time that I've had it. So I would definitely recommend this one if you're looking for a showpiece. And the bird of paradise can actually take really bright sunlight. It does like direct sunlight. Lots of plants don't, but this one does. Mine drinks a lot of water. I do let it dry out between watering, but it does like a drink very often. I've already repotted it once due to the roots growing out of the bottom. So yeah, this one does move quite fast, and mine does guzzle a lot of water, and yeah, it just loves to grow. So if you like a real showstopper for your indoor space, this is definitely one that I would recommend. Next up is the Monera silta picana, and I have found this one to be a super fast grower so far. Even in winter at the moment here in the UK, this one is still growing. As you can see, it has this vine and it's got these new leaves here that are coming through, and it also has several more growth points as well. And I've just found this one to be a super fast grower, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it this year. I may put it on a pole or I may keep it trailing, but yeah, this one is definitely one of my fastest growing houseplants. And who doesn't love a Monstera? They're all so gorgeous. Every time I get a new one I think, wow, I love Monsteras. And the great thing about this is, I'll show you on the biggest leaf there, it has this lovely sort of silvery colour. I'm not sure if it shows up too much on camera, but it's really nice. And yeah, this one is just going crazy, so I'll keep you updated on this one this year. But if you like a fast growing Monstera, this is definitely one that I would recommend. And I just keep this one in bright indirect light, and I let the soil dry out between watering, and that's all I really do. Yeah, and it's just happy. Next up we have the Philodendron Brazil, and this one is a super fast grower. It's just been going crazy. It's got these lovely variegated leaves, and yeah, if you want a super fast grower, I would highly recommend this one, because so far for me this one has been growing amazingly. And you can have this one trailing as I have here, or you could add it to a pole if you'd like it to climb. It's one of those plants that you can grow in different ways, and yeah, this one's still putting out lots of new leaves. You can see there's a little baby leaf just coming out, and yeah, this one seems to be a very fast grower for me, and I would highly recommend it as not only a fast grower but also a really easy care plant, because this one doesn't give me any fuss. I just give it bright indirect light and I let it dry out between watering, and yeah, it's just a brilliant plant. Next on the list is my Syngonium white butterfly, and this one truly does grow like a weed. It grows so much, and it's a vining plant, so it does eventually get heavy and start to vine. So if you'd prefer it to be an upright plant, you can prune it and you can use those cuttings to make new plants, or you can just let it continue to vine. But this one, in my experience, is one of the fastest growers in my collection. So if you'd like something that grows really quick, I would recommend this. It does take up quite a lot of space because of how fast it grows, but if that's what you're looking for, then definitely get one of these. The colours on it are beautiful. It eventually goes out into a sort of lighter, almost white on the leaves. They start off kind of more darker and they get lighter. And I give this one lots of bright indirect light. I let it almost dry out between watering, but not quite. I wait until the top few inches are dry. I don't let it dry out completely, because I did do that by accident one time and the whole thing just drooped. So now I make sure to not let it get completely dry, so don't make that mistake, and give it lots of bright indirect light and it should grow amazingly for you. Next up, it is the mighty Posos, and this is one of my many Posos that I have just put on a pole recently. And yeah, these are known for growing very quickly, especially in spring and summer, but they do carry on for me in winter too. But yeah, if you want something super fast growing, super hardy, this is definitely one for you. This one just grows so amazingly, and that's why you'll hear it recommended everywhere. It's fast growing, it's easy to look after. If you'd like it to grow faster, make sure you put it in bright indirect light, because these are often marketed as low light plants, and it is true that they can withstand low light situations, but if you want it to grow fast, if that's your goal, I would recommend putting it in bright indirect light, because that's how you'll get the fastest growth on this plant. If you put it in the darker place, it will survive, but it will start to get leggy and the leaves will start to get small. So if your goal is fast growth, big growth, get it in bright indirect light, and if you want big leaves, get it on a pole as well. Mine has only just gone onto a pole, so the leaves are kind of still small. You have got to be patient when putting a plant on a pole. It won't just suddenly get bigger. You've just got to practice some patience, and eventually those leaves will get bigger. So yeah, Posos, definitely. I think everyone's got one of these in their house these days, haven't they? And yeah, they can withstand a lot of neglect, they can withstand a lot of different conditions. This is definitely one that you need in your home today. Next up, no surprises, we have the Moranta, and as you can see, this one is going nuts. It has grown so much, it fills the screen. So yeah, Moranta is a real good alternative, in my opinion, to Calathea. If you find Calathea difficult, these kind of have the same effect as Calathea, that they've got the similar sort of leaf patterns, but this is far easier to look after. So I definitely recommend this for an easy care plant, but also for a fast growing plant, because you can see there new growth point, and there's plenty of new growth points on this one, and we're in the middle of winter at the moment and it's still growing strong. And yeah, this is just an excellent choice if you want a fast grower, if you want a big bushy plant. They're also really low cost, you can get them all over the place. And yeah, I don't let mine fully dry out between watering. I do keep this one a little more on the moist side, however I'm careful not to keep it wet. It has to be just lightly moist, and that's how it seems to like it. So I just go around and I test with my water meter and make sure that I'm on top of that. They don't like to completely dry out, but they also don't like to be really wet. So once you get that right, it's a pretty easy plant to look after. And like I say, it's got this gorgeous bushy foliage, and yeah, it just keeps growing and growing. I think you'll really enjoy having this one in your collection.